Hello everyone, Yolefa here. I'm at a new cafe and making a new video for you guys. This is the first time I'm making a proper video talking about the actual share sale now by the company. Just to say hello. Hello. So I'm here with a friend. He needs to go to immigration, so I came along with him. And my reason I came here is not for immigration, it's for the matcha here. They have amazing coffee and matcha, so I highly recommend. I absolutely recommend the cafe here and give you guys an idea about pricing. Yeah, it's a very reasonable price, and they have amazing matcha here. Now they have a price for the matcha for sale. That's amazing. So back to the video. I want to give you guys now an in-depth analysis of the share sale. This is something I don't think many people talk about. Everyone just look at the price and nothing else. In reality, price is the result of all the market participants. The truth is, the price action of NIO for one day does not really matter. What really matters is why the company is selling shares. Where do those shares come from? And I think a lot of people do not understand how this works. And I'm going to explain in greater detail, maybe even technically, to explain to you guys how the money goes from one entity to another entity, how this ultimately benefits shares in NIO's share price, and also the company, also the employees, and why it is important to differentiate between previous share sale and this latest round of share sale. They're not the same, not at all. I hope you stick around until the end of the video because I'm going to share with you quite a bit of Wall Street insider information that most people have no idea about. Are you ready? Let's go. So first of all, you need to understand this sale of the share of roughly 1 billion US dollar share is not sold to the same investor as last time when they did the IPO. The very first time when the company sells share in the United States was done through the IPO process, the initial public offering. Back then was 2018, and the company didn't have any cars on the road yet. Today, we have almost 900,000 cars on the road, almost all of them in China, and it also has the biggest swapping network and the biggest charging network in China. Of course, the company has burned through billions and billions of dollars in this process, and that's where all the shareholders' money has gone into. Now the company raising new money to fund its future growth. However, here's this important detail that I bet most people don't want to tell you about, or they don't even know the difference. Is this time the money doesn't come from the United States. This time the money comes from the Chinese, the money that's based in Hong Kong, in Singapore. And why is that so? Because this time the company has almost 900,000 customers in China who are the top 10% earners in China. And those people have one thing in common. They are financially savvy, they have a lot more income than you can imagine, and they also invest in international shares, including NIO, this time for the first time. So the way how they introduce those investors to NIO is basically through the brokers and the underwriters. So the underwriters you see in the news are the wholesalers, and the wholesalers will call up the brokers, basically find individual brokers who take up chunks of the shares that will be bought through them. We basically have a distribution system where they look for retail customers in Asia Pacific region. Even though it's the same company, even though it's the same share, but where they're selling the share is completely different compared to the previous round of sales. And now you're going to say, hey, wait a minute, didn't the company sell shares to other investors in the past and dilute my shareholding? Yes and no. Yes, it did sell shares to other shareholders, investors in private placements, which means they have a private negotiation with them and say, Here I have a whole chunk, 200, $300 million worth of shares. You want to participate in my company, you don't have to go to the open market to buy and sell. Instead, I'm selling to you directly for cash with as little middleman as possible involved, and you get to hold a large quantity of shares unencumbered without any middleman. This is a great way to raise cash for the company. Also, it's a great way for an institutional investor like Abu Dhabi government fund to get a large stake in the company of NIO without disrupting the day-to-day trading of the share itself. However, this time fundamentally we have a different situation. This billion US dollar worth of share are sold to retail investors in the Asia Pacific region, very similar to the way how they sold the shares to the retail investors in North American region. But the difference is the North American region investors have no patience. They also don't know anything about the product. They just want quick capital gains. But the customers in Asia Pacific region, they have experience with the product. They most likely driving a NIO car, have they are a fan of NIO brand, and they have used products from NIO extensively over the last 7 years. That is a huge difference. Basically, NIO now is becoming more and more like a Tesla. Remember how Tesla went up in share price in the United States? Why is that so? Not because Tesla didn't dilute. Tesla actually dilute the heck out of the investors. In fact, the way how Tesla dilute the shares is 10 times, 100 times worse than the way how NIO is doing it right now. NIO at least received fresh cash for the shares they're selling to the new investors. What Tesla did is basically robbing the existing shareholders to pay a large quantity of compensation to Elon Musk, basically stealing from existing shareholders and benefiting and enriching a single human being. This is how Elon Musk became the richest man in the world by robbing their own shareholders. That is not the case with NIO at all. And despite the fact that Tesla did all the funny stuff to rob the shareholders, share price still went up a lot. Why? Because investor sentiment is bullish. And this is what I'm doing with the NIO 100 movement. I want to keep the bullish momentum going. And the good news is last night's trading indicates that the bullish momentum is still intact. Despite the fact we had a temporary drop of 10%, the short side, what they did, the bears, what they did is predictably, they were very disciplined. They used the opportunity of the worst case scenario for the longs and the best case scenario for the shorts. They used that opportunity last night and covered a lot of shares. That's the reason last night more than 230 million shares got traded. Is actually more shares got traded last night than the shares will be sold to retail investors in this round of share sale from the company. Do you actually understand the importance and the impact of such a situation? Because basically, through an early announcement of the share sale, the company has already absorbed the hit of the additional number of shares in just one night of trading. Just one night of trading. We have this event behind us. There's no longer need to be worried about. Instead, as an investor, you need to focus on, do you see the future of the company with additional cash? That cash will be utilized for strengthening of its technological position, increase its leadership in its swapping network and charging network, and expand international distribution network for its product. All these are critical and super important in the long-term growth in shareholder value. And I have to say the management took a great timing. I think not only they timed this because of the strong product offering in case of Ongo L90 and Neo ESA third generation, but more importantly, this is now me giving credit to our movement. I believe the Neo 100 movement is gaining traction, and I believe the management is watching this movement very closely. And because of the movement is supporting retail shareholders, from the management's perspective, now is probably the best time to raise cash from retail shareholders so that we have long term investors committed to the company's long-term growth. And last but not least, we should take a hint from the amount of shares being offered. 181818190. This translates into English, let's call it that way, from Chinese into English, translate into triple prosperity forever, ever after, which is extremely auspicious. So this is squarely aiming at long-term Asian-based investors who have very good experience with the customer experience side of NIO. This kind of shareholders are far stronger bulls than you and can ever imagine. Because here in the United States, where you are watching me from, where 45% of my viewers are coming from, all of you have not even had a single day experience in the NIO car yet. You can only watch YouTube videos and learn from other people's secondhand experience. But in the near future, the product of NIO is going to go global. But more importantly, the new shareholders we're welcoming into our camp are going to be very strong shareholders. They would already had experience with the product. They have additional spare cash to invest in NIO, and finding $1 billion worth of cash investment from a region that is renowned for its cash-rich, high-saving mentality is not a difficult task. And those brokers and underwriters will have no trouble selling those shares to the right customers. I know several people in Singapore who are subscribing more than $1 million worth of shares. So that's all I can say, because anything more is going to be too much disclosure on our side. Is not benefiting us, actually, believe it or not. I rather want the bears to understand this is your last chance to cover at a nice profit. If you shorted at 670, 680 maybe, now you can still cover for a profit. But if you wait until the company becomes a stronger company and the sales skyrocket and the company shareholder base become even stronger than it is today, then your chance of cover becomes slimmer and slimmer, and you're going to get a margin call. Then regardless if we have an extra $1 billion worth of shares or not, those shares are not going to come back to the market for you to short. And there's another thing I want you to understand. Short selling in NIO is not permitted in Hong Kong market, believe it or not. A normal customer cannot lend the shares out for short selling in Hong Kong unless you have a special account in Hong Kong. Most accounts in Asia do not permit short selling, not like in the United States. So you can see the genius move of the management. They increase the shareholder base, getting stronger shareholder base, and they make sure that those shares will not be lent out to the shorts to be sold short against us. This is the reason they chose very carefully where to do the sale of the share. It was not a random event, and I hope you understand the genius move behind this share offering. All right, as you can tell, I'm stronger. I have a stronger conviction than ever in the share price of NIO to reach $100 per share by December 2026. However, because I have one additional coffee bean to convince to join us into the NIO 100 camp, that means I'm going to double down my effort. From here onwards, I'm probably going to make more videos than I did before to explain to more people, potentially even in multiple languages, to explain to everybody the benefits of NIO 100 movement, and ultimately convincing more people to hold on to the shares, be genuine bulls, and don't get shaken off your position. So this is the situation as I see right now. I hope you agree. And if you have any comments, please write underneath. And please subscribe to the channel, because the more people subscribe to the channel, the stronger is the army, the faster we can reach to NIO 100. All right. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Have a fantastic day.